this class, we want to have something to organize our thoughts or to practice different things. I recommend a sketchbook. Now, yes, we can always buy a sketchbook, or you could have a notebook dedicated to art. You could also have papers that you're bringing to live art classes that you put in a folder, or you can make your sketchbook, which is what this video is all about. Here are some examples of what's inside of a sketchbook. A sketchbook is a place where we can practice different things. We could even write in it. We can write down our ideas. We can sketch or practice different ways to draw things. We could take notes. We could draw our ideas before starting a bigger piece of artwork. And a sketchbook is a place to have all our ideas together. Now, in the past, we have made our sketchbooks. You could always buy a sketchbook or just use a regular notebook, but I think it's much more fun to make it. If you are in kindergarten or first grade, this might be new to you. So here are the steps that we have done in the past to make our sketchbooks. Some things you might need is a piece of string or ribbon, some sheets of white copy or printer paper. Now we recommend 5 sheets for upper grades. For kindergarten and first and maybe second, I might recommend just 4 or 3 sheets of white paper, and I will tell you why in a moment. Now you could just end here, and then these could make your sketchbook, or if you would like to have a different kind of paper for your cover of your sketchbook, here I just have a different color paper that I'll use for my cover. The first step we're going to do is fold the paper. So I like to just fold the whole stack so things are even. So I'm going to fold it in half, hamburger style. And since I decided to have another paper for my cover, I'm also going to fold that in half as well. Now I'm going to put my pages inside of my cover so the fold lines up with the fold. You can already see it coming together now, where here's your book. Now, a couple things that you could do to bind your book together or to keep your book together so you don't have all these loose pages is to have your parents help in stapling the edges of your sketchbook. That keeps it together. Or you can have what we have done in the past with the method that I'm about to share with this class is having 2 holes that you could tie a string or a piece of ribbon or yarn through to tie your sketchbook together. So what we want to do if we decide on that method is we only want to focus on the fold. So I'm going to move my sketchbook or my book horizontal, and I have the fold on the bottom. I have the edges on the top. This is when I'm going to make 2 triangles, like right about here, leaving space between my edges. Notice where I put these triangles. I'm going to go up the mountain, down the mountain, up the mountain, down the mountain. I'm going to show you up close so that you can see what that looks like. Here's the fold. Notice where my triangles are pointing to. Now, the hardest part will be the cutting. So please have your parents help with this, or if you have a sibling that has done sketchbooks before, you could all do this as a family. So what we need to do is actually cut through all this paper. And this is the hardest part. This is why I recommend for kindergarten and first grade to maybe only have 3 or 4 sheets of white paper inside. Now I have 5 pages that I have folded. 5 times 2, that's 10. And I also have this different kind of paper that I folded in half. I am cutting through 12 sheets of paper. That is a lot of paper. So this is why I recommend for our younger grades to have less pages that they're folding so that it'll be easier to cut. So what I want to do before I'm cutting is make sure I'm kind of stacking the fold against the table so that everything's lined up. And I'm going to hold the fold so the pages do not move. I'm going to take my scissors, and it is really hard to cut through all these papers with just my tippy tap of my scissors. So I need to open up my scissors all the way, and I'm going to slant my scissors one way, and notice how I'm slanting my scissors the other way. I am not cutting like this. So the triangles might not come out. That's okay. You could always twist them and they might come out, or you might have to recut. If you're also having a hard time cutting, make your triangles a little bit bigger, and that might help you as well. I want to keep holding the sketchbook in place, so I'm going to move my hand a little bit so that way everything's together. I do not want to open up my book at this time. I'm going to cut my other triangle. Another thing you could try to do is if you have a hole punch, you could also use that to make the holes. But I think this method works a little bit better and it's easier to get the string through. So what we want to do is we want to open up our sketchbook to the very middle. I like to take my finger right here and just feel where that is. It's where I've originally folded the paper. And when I'm opening it up, I should see 2 diamonds. Now if I see only 1 diamond, or maybe I realize that I didn't cut through all the papers, no big deal. I can just fold it back up, try to line it up as best I could, hold the fold, and then recut. But I want to open it up to the very middle. This is not the middle. You don't want any loose pages here. I want to open it up to the very middle so that my diamonds are lined up. Now I like stories, so many of you might remember this story before, but I'm going to have a little dolphin, and the sketchbook is going to be the water. Everything above the sketchbook will be the sky. Everything below the sketchbook will be water. So I have my dolphin that is in the water right now, swimming in the water. It's going to come out of the water through one of my diamonds. It's going to hop and say hello and then go back in the water through the other diamond. So that I have a line of string on the inside and some ends of string on the outside. If our upper grades want to challenge themselves and do 3 diamonds or more, as long as you remember to have space between the edges and space between your holes, you're going to come up with a way that you could tie it together. What I want to do is I'm going to flip my whole sketchbook over, and I have the ends of my string. Now I'm going to tie my sketchbook together. It's always better to start out with a longer piece of string so that I have room to tie. First, we're going to start with a knot. We're going to make an X, take one of my ends of the string and go through the triangle on the bottom and then pull. It's always helpful to have another person put their finger here so that way you can get the knot a little bit closer so you don't have a super wobbly sketchbook. It's just me, so I'm going to just do the best I can. And then I'm going to make another X and do the same steps. So I'm going to take one of my ends of the string, go through what now is a circle, and then pull. If you decide to tie in another string and create a braid, or if you decide to have some of this long string to have a bookmark, which some students did last year, you can do that, or you can just trim the string. If you're trimming the string, do not trim it close to the knot, because you know what happens. It unravels very easily, so maybe leave about an inch worth. And then you have your sketchbook. So let me move my scraps. I have the cover, and then I can have my pages. The pages is where we're gonna have our ideas. You could take notes when you're coming into live art class of things that you might need. You can draw some ideas. Maybe we'll have some drawing challenges that I'll have you draw along with me. But we need something to have our ideas, whether it's a sketchbook that we make, a notebook that we get, or maybe it's just a couple pieces of paper that we're bringing to class. Or maybe you have a folder that you're putting papers in, so that way you can organize things. Once you've finished making your sketchbook, another thing you can do is decorate the cover. Think about a title or what kind of designs you can draw and add using any coloring materials. Here are some examples. You can even decorate the back. Here are some sketchbook tips. Do not tear out any pages. To save your pages over time, draw as many ideas as you can on one page or on the back of a page. Follow the directions that I give you, and remember, all ideas are awesome. Don't put a big X on ideas you don't like. Just use the back of a page or another page. You could also use your sketchbook to doodle and to get your mind flowing.